Welcome to PowerUp podcast, the podcast that seeks to empower and dismantle, giving us the power and confidence to question, deconstruct, rebuild, and expand in life. I'm your host, AmaRouge, voiceover and multidisciplinary artist, well-being advocate, food and book geek with over 14 years of movement-centered experience.
I am your host, Mesma, artist, choreographer, yogi and coach with a passion for alchemy, creativity, transformation and workplace wellness.
We recognise that we can't dismantle and empower or be empowered without first learning ourselves, diving deeper to unlearn the harmful, restrictive and unprogressive. It's an ongoing practice and journey for us all, which is why we created this podcast.
Our show features guests doing the work to enlighten, deconstruct and power up in their own magical ways.
We're going to be having conversations around the power of healing, transformation, well-being and creativity, and how they feed our personal and collective evolution, how they help us power up. Creativity as a tool for revolution. We really hope that you're enjoying this series. It's super timely and it's something that Ella and I have spoken quite a lot about. So we're super happy to be bringing you this series, and we're super happy to be joined by Akeim Toussaint Buck, whose pronouns are he, him, they. Akeim is an interdisciplinary performer and maker, born in Jamaica and raised in England. Akeim's intention is to create moving, thought-provoking, accessible and free-spirited projects. The work challenges, enlightens and entertains in a visceral way, calling on multiple art forms to tell the story. Audiences are invited to not just observe, they're implicit in the experience, and his work aims to reflect on reality, looking at ongoing socio-political issues with a humanitarian intention. So welcome, Akeim. We're so happy to have you. Can't wait to get into this conversation with you. Thank you for choosing to be here.
Of course. I'm really happy to be here. So thank you for having me.
I just did a tiny dancer dance.
Proper.
So with that intro, I mean, straight away, for me, it's really obvious why we wanted to talk to you today. But for people who don't know you or don't know your work, can you tell us a bit about the art you make and how it allows you to express yourself, and if that expression is related to your political or social views?
So yeah, the art that I make is, for me, reflects my environment, but also I like to do that in a way where I use multiple art forms. So there is dance, which is, I see it as like an ecosystem, and dance is like at the center, because that's more of a physical presence of the body. And then I love to make music. So sometimes I compose music for pieces, or compose music for films.
Yeah.
That's how
We're
we
both
work
nodding
together.
to big cheesy smiles because
Yeah.
Akeim composed the music for Ecological Beings, which is a dance film that I was in. So yes,
Yeah.
wonderful as well. Penguins for life.
Yeah. Penguins for life. Yes. Oh man, that's beautiful. Yeah, and some music is in there: beatboxing, poetry, film. I just love to utilize everything, to bring different people together as well, because I'm not always doing everything. Sometimes I'll work with a musician so that we have some backing for the film or for a piece, and sometimes I'll make stuff myself, or I sometimes I just love create all expressions of expressing yourself. Yeah. So my work really reflects on that, but with a political and humanitarian message inside of it. So I use all of those tools to formulate something that expresses a sense of change, or just something really important that people should have a think about or experience. And I like to also create like a story that even if I go through the darkest and deepest of the truths of life, we reach to some place of dreaming a better. Because you can't just allow yourself to just sit in something. We have to move through it
Yeah.
and face it, really face it and learn through
Yeah.
it. So yeah, a lot of the work that I make follows that kind of feel and narrative.
So have you always made work like this, or is it something that was there something that kind of shifted your trajectory of the work you were making, or did you always know that you wanted to express the things that were politically and socially important to you through your work?
Yes, I did. And and the process of becoming, I guess, confident and really knowing my intention, that took a while because I at school at Northern I used to mainly dance in people's pieces, and then throughout the course, yes, you have to choreograph stuff, but in my reflection of my time there, I didn't spend loads of time on choreography. I did bits and bobs here, but it was mainly on dancing and getting the chops of that, and also watching pieces. Um, really trying to see what I feel about the piece and how an everyday person will feel as well. And if that's the feeling I want to leave a space with. So what is it that I truly represent, and how do I want people to feel from the frequency or the signature or the vibration that I want to deliver to them? That whole 4 years, they're not the whole 4 years, but it was in my second year. Like I had a consciousness shift when I hit second year. I've always been more interested in political stuff, but my voice and the way that my voice wants to do it on stage, like in a dance way, came, like I started to inquire with myself and who I am about that a lot more. So, coming from Jamaica, I got obsessed with Bob Marley. But then I realized I was always exposed to Bob Marley because my dad's obsessed with Bob Marley. But he gave me the download of Bob Marley when I was really small. And so when I started listening to Bob Marley, I'm like, I know these lyrics. Why do I know these lyrics? Because they're planted in my mind. Like,
Yeah.
so that kind of just became a part of things as well. And, reggae, and then realize it, and then looking around and really waking up to, wow, I'm in Britain, which is a place that reggae music, dub music, the Caribbean culture, Afrocentric culture is here. And this thing, I have a space in here. I of course I should speak because there's people around who connect with me and beyond, not just look like me, but they have the same connection to the art forms that I am inspired by. So we can connect through the message.
We were speaking earlier, Akeim, about this quote on my website, which is by Bertolt Brecht, and says that art is this sort of opportunity, almost like we can take a hammer and we can shape the world that we want to see with art. And I was thinking about your kind of the core of what you're saying in here about hope and about how you can speak to the things that we're maybe moving through. Maybe they're not always easy things, but there's also this sort of shaping that you do of hope and promise. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. I love that about your work.
Thank you.
It made me think back to an episode with Beverly Thomas where we talked about Afrofuturism and how important it is to dream, and how Afrofuturism isn't us escaping. It's not a form of escapism from what is. It's actually us dreaming what can be. And so when you made that comment about your work, I thought, yeah, it contains this wonderful Afrofuturistic element, which then doesn't allow us to simply, or doesn't ask us to simply dwell in the kind of in the heavy and the difficult, but also presents this alternative, this Afrofuturistic sense of what can be.
Yes.
And so I love that as well. I love that aspect. I think it's really important to feel like there is more, and like there is hope, and like things can shift.
Yes. Yes, for reals. Absolutely.
Two things I want to say. I'm going to go with the first one, because possibly the other one's not relevant. but I really want to discuss it with you too. Maybe I thought, oh, Cameron. I wanted to just have a minute to also just celebrate and big up, like, check out Akeim's website if you're listening. Check out the amazing art that Akeim is making, because it's so multidisciplinary and there's so much that you're creating right now. And I just wanted to celebrate that you've just won an award. And, you know, I think that that's been a long time coming, and I'm really happy for you. And I would love for you to tell the audience a little bit about what the award was and why you received it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Oh, that was really nice. Yeah. So the Arts Foundation Fellowship Award is an award that you there's like stages to receiving it. I was notified, or I was told that I was nominated. Like, they just emailed me and got in touch. And then from that point, you then go through another stage where you have to fill out this form and just talk about yourself and what you would do if you won, you know, this £10,000. That they're not putting whole bars on it in terms of you have to execute something. It's just you doing something through your journey, just, you know, developing yourself. You can really use it for that, and or use it to support bills and stuff like that. They really tell you to just, you know, take care of you so you can just chill and go through your creative process and grow.
Which is very rare, right? We need to put that in for listeners who don't really know kind of how the landscape is across the arts and across dance. And it's just super rare for someone to go, here is an award and here is money for you to do what you need to do with it. And there's no outcome that you have to fulfill. And there's no statistics that you have to deliver, etc., etc., etc.
You gotta let them know about it though, just, you know, for like the promotion and the, you know, exposure of also that it's a charity. So they want to raise more money so they can keep going. So it absolutely makes sense that when you win, they really want to, like,
you
just
big them up and
you up and you big them up and you share about what you're doing with the process, this freedom. Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, there's like 5 categories as well. There's really a lot of different art forms and different things that they look at, like bioengineering, biodesign rather, sorry, because it's, you know, artistic. And then
love that.
I'm trying to look at them now.
It's
really amazing. Like, I was so
tell us, there'll be people listening who are like,
I was so, because I did not, you know, I'm really nonchalant about things. So I could never imagine how the event was going to go and the whole thing. You know, I got mentioned in the stage because I won this award. It's like, it was, I was so thrown, like, my head. Anyways, exploded. Biodesign, dance theatre, digital art, electronic music, and place writing.
Oh, wow. I love how broad it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's so broad. And I don't think those are always the categories, and it happens every year. But yeah, it's just really cool. I was, just really.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Such a lovely feeling as well. Just to have that, to receive that recognition and validation. And we spoke about this with Isaac Oral now when he was on the show, you know, and he highlighted the fact that, of course, external validation isn't everything, but
absolutely,
it's also an important part of our feedback loop and our journey to be externally validated by our peers and by organizations around us. When we are, you know, putting the work out and doing the work, that still is a piece of the puzzle. So
yes,
well done, man.
Absolutely. And I think, because I'm all about, self-validation. I don't need this whole system to say I'm good at what I do, to believe in myself, because that's important. You need to believe in yourself so that when you have those no's and you have those rejections and stuff, you can bounce back a lot easier. So
I just bounce to that and just I feel like that's also another form of creativity as a revolution. Like there's something in not doing what society tells you and going for what you love and
Yes.
not seeking for approval, which is in itself a revolution. But I just want to celebrate you for and pick you up.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I thought that when I was sat there, I just thought, oh, I just had this feeling of just like, whoa, I haven't been trying to chase this, and especially when my video came on and everyone else's videos came on and seeing everyone else's work and thinking, wow, like all these people are so amazing. Every artist in this room is just so sick. And I'm just like here, like, whoa, anyone could win right now. And then they said my name. I was like, what? What's going on?
Did you cry? I think I would have cried.
Yeah. I shed some tears, a bit of tears
I'm
there.
so proud.
And I was just laughing. I was laughing so much. I was just like, this is someone's playing a joke. Someone's playing a joke. I was like, nah, this is real. Yeah. So yeah, I feel very proud. And I feel like, yes, I do actually feel, really good because of validation as well, to be honest. Yeah.
I know you're doing loads of stuff, Akeim, but it would be really cool to just hear about some projects that are exciting for you and maybe feel like revolutions.
Yeah. Everything, all of it. I'm excited about all of it, and all of it feels like revolutions. So I feel like I feel like, what did I call this? After the award, I call this year perspective. Since 2020, I've started like naming the years. Like last year was fulfillment. And this year I feel like I'm getting perspective, and the perspective is seeing myself and seeing myself manifest outside of myself around me. Like, yeah, it's powerful and it's crazy at the same time. And it's like, what? Okay, all this stuff works. Like, mentally preparing yourself, internally, spiritually, energetically preparing yourself and connecting to yourself to understand who you are. And then even as an artist, but I think also as a human, because humans are artists. We create. We literally create. We're creatives, like by nature.
Yeah.
And we find ways to use nature, break nature down. That's what mathematics really is, and science, to then orchestrate what we want to create through the three-dimensional manifestation of it all.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Play is actually the first work I ever made with Otis Jones. Play is about the inner child.
Love it
Why
already.
is the inner child revolutionary? Because we live in a world where we're told we have to grow up. But yet your inner child is what connects you most to your freest and most creative and most powerful self.
Yeah, agree.
So I love having a community art outreach and connection as well. Like some of the projects I do, like one project I'm gonna do in March and April is at Compton Verney. They have the biggest folk art exhibition in the country. There,
Wow.
Compton Verney is like, it's close to Leamington Spa. It's this massive kind of National Trust building that's been turned into a gallery. And it's really cool. Yeah, I went on the grounds. It used to be a medieval village, so it's also a burial ground. There's all this stuff. So I'm going to be working with kids to create a performance throughout the space, and they literally said to me they want it to be disruptive, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's get these kids running through with like fabrics and stuff. I'm not going to give away too much, but I want the kids to take over the space, which connects to another thing that I did years ago, Lead Seeds, where I had kids, we created a tour around Chapeltown. So I'm going to use the same format of creating a tour around Compton Verney and creating spots where we do some kind of interventions with the children and fabric, because we're collaborating with a visual artist. Go check them out, Compton Verney, and look for the project. It's connected to the Making Mischiefs exhibition.
What's next for you in terms of the revolutions that you're igniting in all of these beings you work with and the revolutions that you're creating through your work?
In terms of what's next, in igniting revolutions in people. I don't, and people around me and everything. I don't know. I just, I don't know.
And
That
that
one.
answer is totally valid. And I love that,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
sometimes we feel like we have to have all the answers. We have to give.
Nah. Oh
And
no.
actually, it's like, yeah, I don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't know yet.
And
I don't
that's
know
all
yet
right.
because that's huge, and I think it's also everything, and it might not be. There's a thing. This thing about revolutions is, I feel sometimes it's counterproductive in terms of it revolves. There's constantly something. How about we evolve?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So even though it's the energy to stand your ground and to create what it is that you know feel you want to put into the world, or the betterness or the love that you want to put into the world, because that's all it is actually in the most basic, selfless and selfish at the same time aspect of everything that an artist creates. It's because you love it, and there is an obsession about this thing, whether it's global issues. And then, and then in the thing of global issues, it's like, if the issue didn't exist, what would you create? And that's the dream. And then that's a part of the dream. So I sometimes feel like, because I make my work in that story, in that narrative, what I choose to show as the dream is a snippet of something of the future that, even for myself, in terms
Yeah.
of that energy and that vibration. So it's like, how,
Love that.
I don't know about how. I feel like I am going to get there. I feel like that is the story of my life, of the work that I want to create. Is like, all of a sudden there's this bliss, and it makes me think of Sun Ra. It makes me think of Sun Ra and John Coltrane, because there's bliss in their music for me.
Mm.
I'm really excited for the work I'm doing with Miss Maya here, Miss Ella Okan. It's really like as if we've landed on this idea, and I just feel like it has a real communication to humanity right now, in terms of this non-binary spirit and this non-binary consciousness that we obviously have in the world, because this is what's happening on the planet right now, in terms of people questioning their gender and expanding their gender, or realizing that masculine and feminine, they're qualities that we've tied masculine and feminine to, but they're not necessarily always just masculine and feminine when they show up. And that is something beautiful, I think, and very revolutionary and evolutionary, because even that, that was past, and that's, I don't know, there's something beautiful and at the same time like, whoa, about it, because the fear of losing that, I guess. So Okan, oneness, universe, also it being like connected, it's a Yoruba word, and we're looking at like salsa and Wing Chun. Like, I don't know, that's dope. Yeah.
I bloody love it. Do you have any message for people who maybe haven't yet stepped onto the creative path?
I feel like we all have different medicines, and that turns up or manifests out of us in creative ways, or also that's what our ancestors have always done on all over the planet. Hence cave drawings, because they just went hunting and it was proper traumatic, because we just killed this thing. And I'm a sentient feeling being, and I realized that's also a sentient feeling being. Henceforth, why they then probably started to create rituals, because they felt in themselves, after killing this animal, I felt away. So let me start creating some rituals so that we can deal with this energy. And the ritual is also part of the drawing. The ritual is also part of the painting. And then it went from painting on the wall to then painting on the body to then we're dancing because, yo, it's raining. Or we're dancing because, yo, we need it to rain. In the drought or in the famine, when you're feeling depressed, getting up, dancing, playing music, and then it rains. It's magic. Being creative is magic. If you want something to happen in your life, something to change, sometimes just put on some music and just dance. Or sometimes just write everything you're feeling. Just write it down, and then you can burn it, or you can, sometimes it might even come out poetic. Sometimes you might say something that is linked to metaphor and imagery, and you're like, what the frick did I just say? That was actually beautiful. And then you see something different in yourself from what you're probably seeing in the present moment when you wrote it. So I just feel like creativity is a lot more powerful than the commodification that happens to it, because we live in a capitalist society. But it is what it is, and I choose to make my living this way because I love to do it. I love to do it. Like, honestly, it's my love language of life, and it's also my magic. If money didn't exist, I'd still do this. If money didn't exist, I'd still do this because it's my medicine. I'd probably be a carpenter. I'd probably learn a lot more about maths. I'd probably be an accountant at the same time. But I would be painting something. I would be making music. I would still be dancing. I'd still be writing poetry. I'd still be like, yo, let's make a film, bro.
And even that thing called time, right? Like, sometimes I feel like I have so many ideas that it's like my human body can't keep up. Because there's this thing called time, and we need to do things like eat and sleep and make money.
There's that, and pay the bills, and
But what blessings that we get to honor, because I think it's like it's a connection to divine. To be creative is to connect to our true divinity, and I feel like that's why we're really here. Thank you for listening. You can connect to us and our guests via the links in each episode's show notes. Before you go, we invite you to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the goodness to come. And if you enjoyed today, perhaps tell a friend to tell a friend. We are always grateful for you, our listeners, for our fabulous guests, and to everyone who has contributed to and been a part of our journey here.
Our music is by Tomo Carter. Everything else is brought to you by us, the PowerUp Power Team.
I'm Mesma.
I am AmaRouge, and we are PowerUp Podcast.